Hi there, and welcome to Our Weekly Craft, a source of ideas, inspiration, and fun for crafters. I'm Sarah White, Chief Maker at OurDailyCraft.com, and today I want to talk about travel reading. I'm about to go on vacation. We're leaving for about a week to go to the beach, and I tend to read a whole lot on vacation, but I also tend to overpack both books and knitting projects. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I choose what I take. When I go on vacation for reading and what I am planning to read this year. I'm wearing Flow by Nargon. This is a really old pattern of hers. It's just like a basic tank top with this almost all stockinette. It's even got curled edging. It's this fun old ribbon yarn that they don't make anymore. It's a Barocco. It was a Barocco pattern. But I really like it. It's a good summer easy top. We're pretty firmly into summer now, and I've got my summer haircut, and so it seemed like a good thing to wear today as we're getting ready for vacation. I tend to not think too much about what I'm going to read on vacation. I usually don't try to stick to my normal reading lists in the hope that I'll pick up something more fun. But usually I'm also like have something that I have been meaning to read and putting off, or just, it just happens to come up in my queue on ebooks from the library that I end up reading really inappropriate things on vacation. I read A Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion on vacation, which is a great book, but it's about her husband and her daughter dying, so it's not really like vacation fodder. I think I read both The Book Thief and what's the other one? All the Light We Cannot See on vacation. Not, the most cheerful, but like we'll see in a minute that World War II novels tend to be like a default position for me somehow. I tend to read more genre, kind of like it's my time that I read sci-fi and fantasy and young adult kind of stuff. So I read last year I was 42, and so I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy while we were on vacation. If I were by some mystery able to run through all the books that I have that I'm taking with us this year, I might read Restaurant at the End of the Universe. I think that's the second one this year. I just was reading The Amber Spyglass, which is the third His Dark Materials book. I think I may have read the second one on vacation last year. I read Andy Weir on vacation usually, and so Project Hail Mary is sort of on my second tier list of books. Only second tier, not because I don't want to read it, but because it's an ebook that my husband owns and he shared with me, so it's not like from the library and due in the future. So if I don't read it in the next week, it's okay. But that will probably be one that I read soon. I thought that I was in trouble because I had a bunch of holds on ebooks from my library, and if you have a Kindle and a public library, you definitely should be using Libby if you're not already. It's a great way to check out ebooks, and then you don't have to go to the library to get a physical book. But I had a bunch of holds, and they were all like 4 to 6 weeks out, and so I was like, there's no way any of those are coming in time. I need to come up with a new plan, whatever. And then while I was reading Amber Spyglass, which was sort of a thing I picked just because it was like, oh, I need to read that, and it's in like 3 of them came in within 3 or 4 days of each other. So I'm all set for ebooks. I have, and I'm currently reading, I've made notes because there's a lot of them, The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulet, which is a young adult. It's about a Native American community, in Sault Ste. Marie, and this girl is working with the FBI to help solve a mystery about mushroom-laced methamphetamines that are going around in the tribal communities up there. And I think I'm almost halfway done with it, maybe 30% done with it. And it's interesting so far. I didn't know anything about it. I judged a book by its cover on this one. I'll see if I can pull it up for you because it has a really beautiful cover. And I think it was on a best books of last year list, maybe, is why I ended up choosing to read it or have it on my list. I don't know if I can get to the cover on this one, but let's see if I can get there. Yeah, so this is, oops, if I could make my Kindle do what I would like it to do. This is the cover, and it's beautiful colors when it's in color, but it's very pretty anyway. And as this notes, it was on Reese's Young Adult Book Club, for whatever that's worth. But it's, I'm enjoying it so far. And so that's what I'm reading right now. I also have The Maid by Rita Prose, which I was just looking at, looking these books up online so I could say something about them, because I often put holds on things just because somebody recommended it or I saw it on a list or whatever, and I don't always know a lot about them. But when I searched for this book, I saw a review that called it a clue-like locked room mystery. And I love Clue, so that sounds like something that's fun. I think a coworker recommended that one. I can't remember for sure. But that is one that I have, and also The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel, which is why I say that I always seem to be reading a World War II novel on vacation. This one is a World War II novel. It's about a woman forger who somehow uses her elite forgery skills to save Jewish children during the war. So, we'll see. So those are on, and also Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir I have on my Kindle. I like the Kindle for beach reading because you can read it in highlight. I like it for all the time reading because you can read it in low light. I tend to read later than my husband likes to stay awake, so I have my brightness on like 1, and it's not bright enough. It's not so bright that it keeps him awake, but it's bright enough that I can still read by it. Oh, and this is funny. I have ads on my Kindle because I'm cheap, and the ad is for Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, which is one of the other holds that I have on my thing since we've been watching Station 11. And I read The Glass Hotel last year. I was like, why not? Let's throw in some Emily St. John Mandel. I would like to read it, so that'll be coming soon. But I also take some actual books, just, to change things up. And I have 2 regular books. I also have some books that I need to review that I'm not going to tell you about, and I actually can't find one of them. So anyway, so I'm taking a bunch of books. One of the books, I don't usually read nonfiction on vacation, but this one's been sitting in my pile for a while, so I thought I'd bring it along. It's Embrace Your Weird by Felicia Day. I like, books about creativity and things, and I'm kind of have a creativity related book that I'm thinking about writing, and so I'm trying to read some more books in that genre, and so I have that one. And I also have Donald Harrington, Architecture of the Arkansas Ozarks. Donald Harrington is a writer from Arkansas, as you might imagine from the title of this book, who died a few years ago, and his stuff is really great. This book has really small print. I just noticed from opening it. It's like, whew, that's some reading. And it's also long, even with that. It's 376 pages of a really tight writing and some illustrations, because it is actually somewhat related. It is a novel, but it does talk about different buildings and things in the plot of the story. And this is like one of his books that is considered a classic. It was written in 1975. And for some reason I've never read it, so I'm taking that along just in case. And again, a couple of books that I'm reviewing, so that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. I usually read about 5 books during a vacation because I read on the beach. If it rains and you need something to do, I'll read in the condo. I read while I'm knitting sometimes. There's just a lot of reading happening, so that's a quick roundup of what I am reading. I would say if I had rules, it would probably be something that's, fun and maybe light. They don't call them beach reads for nothing, but I do enjoy something, lighter than my normal. If I were planning, I might have some more lighter fare. I don't usually read, chick lit or romance novels or those sorts of things, but I read Not on Vacation. I think I waited until I got home from vacation before I read Last Summer at the Golden Hotel last year, and it was amusing. It's not my genre at all, but for vacation reading, stuff like that is fine. And I had a couple of books in mind of that sort that I was thinking about, but again, it's what it usually comes down to what I have on hold at the library that's available at the time that I need it. So I hope that you are planning a vacation this summer and that you'll get to do a lot of reading and crafting while you're there. I just told you what I'm reading. What I'm watching is we're still watching Station 11. We started the Obi-Wan series. We've only watched the first episode of that. We've watched the first episode of Stranger Things. We've got a lot of new things happening, which is fun. I also just started, since I finished Big Little Lies, I started Julia, which is the HBO series about Julia Child and the launching of the French Chef TV show that, of course, became, the standard for all the cooking shows to this day, which has been fun to watch. I've watched a little more than 2 episodes of that, I guess. But, it's funny to think about that there really were no cooking shows, and they didn't even have a concept for, in the pilot, she's making coq au vin, and she's like, how do I make something that takes 4 hours to cook in 28 minutes? And they had to come up with, oh, well, you should, make one in advance. And so you can show stages of it and then have a finished one to present. And the idea of her sitting at a table and tasting the food, that they had to come up with how, what a cooking show even looks like. And now that's the standard. Things have changed through the years somewhat, but you show the ingredients, you show the prep, you do a little bit of the cooking, and you have a finished thing, and you don't really show anything from start to finish unless it happens to be really, like the 30-minute meal kind of thing. That all came from somewhere, and it's not an old concept because TV hasn't really been around that long, right? So that's been interesting to watch, and I like food related things. So weirdly, while I'm working out, I like to watch things about food, so it's fun. There's a lot of great actors in that series as well. So yeah, I think that's all for this week. I hope that you have a great and crafty week and stay safe and healthy, and I will be on the beach next week, but I'm going to film a little something here to share with you, so as to not break the streak of weekly postings. And so you will see me next week. I will not see you next week. So I think that's all. Have a good week.